right? You remember those little notebooks that you would have for classes? I was a total nerd and had one for every class. So tonight, let's do one for macros, right? So I'm going to flip the script. And I know that my clients know this. So make sure you guys are using the chat on this, but let's talk about this. Toss them out. What are macros? Write them out in the chat. Let's hear them. There we go, Dan. Yep. So protein, fats, and carbs. And protein is king. I love it, George. Nice. That's dope. Yep. Thank you, Kyle. Yes, Brandon. Way to participate, dude. I love it. Exactly that. So your macros are your protein, your carbs, and your fats. Calories are king. Touche, Matt. Touche. So again, flipping the page. So our lessons tonight, right? Again, we're nerding out here for a minute, guys. So we're going to talk about protein. We're going to break it down. We're going to talk about carbs, and we're going to talk about fat. But I want you guys just to know that we're keeping it very, very basic tonight. We're not going deep on any of those three. We're just going to cover the genuine basics with each one. Okay. So I got another question for you guys before I flip the script. I want to know, and I know my clients learned this week too in their week 2 calls. So protein, when we talk about protein, write this in chat. 1 gram of protein is how many calories? I know you guys know this.
Let me down, Team Walker.
Yeah. Team Cat better represent. 4. Yeah. 1 gram of protein is 4 calories. All right. What about carbs? 1 gram of carb is how many calories?
I know my clients know this too, so they better be answering.
4. Yeah. Yep. 4. All right. And then last, but definitely not least, when we talk about fat, 1 gram of fat is how many calories? Boom. Look at that. Spitting that out. Let's go. Nice work, guys. Nice work. So, hey, coaches, we're teaching them something, right? All right. Nice work, guys. That's exactly right. So 4 calories for protein and carbs, 1 gram that is, and then 1 gram of fat is 9. All right. Nice work. So when we're talking about fat, when we're talking about protein, this is just 1 page. My second page has 3 more content, so to speak, of benefits of protein. But one of the biggest things is we know that protein holds our hunger, right? You're going to feel a lot fuller when you're eating protein, right? So it curbs your hunger, first things first. Okay. We know protein is essential for having to build that muscle, right? If you're not eating enough protein, do you think you're going to be able to build muscle appropriately? You're going to have a hard ass time, right? And it's the same concept for reducing the actual muscle loss, right? Kind of ties into with making sure you're eating enough calories, what Matt was saying, like calories are king. So it's protein and it's calorie based so that you're not reducing your muscle loss. I see that Eric's got a hand up. What's up, dude?
Your slides aren't changing.
They aren't changing. I don't know. All right, give me a second, guys. Thank you for sharing that. Well, that doesn't work either. All right, can you guys see that now? Okay. Thank you guys. Appreciate that. Okay. Those were the 3 on this slide. So I'm going to go to the next slide, but before I do, kind of want to open up the floor again in the chat before I list out number 4, number 5, and number 6 for benefits of protein. What do you guys think would be other benefits to the protein? And you can toss that into the chat, okay? Anyone? Energy, yes. Wound healing, yes. Satiety, yep. So it curbs your hunger, yep. What else you guys got? Variety of choices. Yeah. Strength, yes. Iron, metabolism, yep. Powers muscles, yep. Dude, I'm loving all of these, guys. This is awesome. Makes the vegetarians mad. That's a good one, guys. Yes, that is what protein does. Energy. That's epic. All right, guys. So next slide. Eric, let me know if you can see this. Did it change? Okay. All right. So number 4, it helps you to maintain a healthy weight, right? I think it's important to note that eating adequate amount of protein, it aids both in fat loss and weight loss. Like the two are separate entities, so to speak, right? It's going to aid in a speedy recovery, right? Protein helps your muscles to repair, right? And to restore, and allows them to rebuild. So think of like 3 R's, so to speak. So it's going to help you in terms of that recovery piece. And then exactly what someone had pointed out, like it really helps your immune system. It helps your metabolism, and it helps your brain function. All right, guys. Moving on to carbs. Boom. There's a lot of myths.
Everybody's favorite, by the way.
What was that?
Said carbs, everybody's favorite, by the way.
No, right? Seriously.
You gotta love cake.
So there's a lot of myths around carbs, right? But carbs do provide energy for the body. They are fuel, and that's what I like to kind of tie in. Carbs equals fuel, right? But it's a matter of the right carbs, of course. They provide fiber. My clients, they know by the time they get to like, I'd say like week 4, week 5, we're talking massively about fiber. So they understand that. It's going to uplift your mood. And when we're talking about serotonin, it actually enhances that chemical in our brain, by the way. And then carbs play a role. Told you I'm not going deep tonight, but they do play a role in our cholesterol levels. So just keep that in mind. Coming over to the right-hand side, when we're talking about carbs reducing cancer, I want you guys to think about your veggies and your fruits, right? Especially like, for example, berries. Berries of any kind contain antioxidants, right? They're going to be super important for our bodies. They play a massive role. And with that, that ties into our skin too. Think of the fruits that contain a lot of water content. Do you think because like watermelon and cantaloupe and honeydew, they have a more water content, that your skin's going to look better because you're having more water content fruits? Yeah, your skin's going to look amazing. So keep that in mind too. It's also going to help you to increase your blood flow. Okay. And then there's a lot of people, a lot of clients. I know I can speak for myself. A lot of clients coming in here that are type 2 diabetics, and they're on a handful of medications to help control that. Well, guess what? When we are able to get your carbs under control and you're eating the right content of carbs, guess what? Your A1C levels come down, your blood glucose levels normalize, right? And you're not having crazy highs and crazy lows and having to use as much insulin. So keep that in mind too, okay? Your second page for carbs, and everybody can still see this, right? Like it's actually working. Thank you, Walker. All right, so keep in mind your body, I mentioned carbs equals fuel, right? So your body actually wants to use those carbs, right? And it's going to keep them stored up in a reserve so that you can use them when you need to use them. So keep that in mind. And then again, carbs are friends. They really are. They are a friend. They do serve a purpose. Don't avoid them. Don't think like a keto diet, because guess what's going to happen the moment that you do start eating carbs? You're going to gain weight back, right? So it's a matter of having a healthy proportion, right? And I know as coaches, for the most part, everybody's a 40% protein, a 30% carb, or it's a 45% protein, a 25% carb, right? So we still need them. So keep that in mind, okay? And then I told you guys I'm a little bit of a nerd. So some little fun facts over here on the right side. So your brain, our brain, is the only carb dependent organ in our entire body. So again, we need carbs, right? And when we're talking about calories as a whole, so say you're on 2,000 calorie intake, 25% of that calorie intake goes towards your brain alone, right? So keep that in mind. There's a reason why as coaches rag on you guys about eating your protein and hitting your calories, right? We need to be doing that. Equally, here's a really fun fact. The moment a carb touches your mouth, that is where digestion starts. Yeah, a little interesting fact.
You guys have enzymes in your saliva.
Mm-hmm.
Why your mouth waters when you start eating.
And we got Thanksgiving right around the corner too.
Heyo.
All right, fats. So when we're talking about fats, is that because carbs are sugar? Yeah, so that's a good question, Chester. So when it comes to carbs, like the way that I teach my clients is fruits do contain sugar, right? But your fruits are going to be digested differently compared to eating ice cream or cake or cookies, right? It's a different type of sugar in that essence. So keep that in mind. There's a reason why you should be having way more fruits. And people think even fruits are bad because, oh, it contains sugar. Like, no. There's so many benefits and your body digests it completely different. Okay. Walker, do you want to toss anything in there?
I was literally just going to elaborate, but you're part of the reason fruit is digested so much slower than like a candy bar or anything is because like when you look at the breakdown, like the molecular breakdown of a fruit has fiber. So your body, that sugar is bound to fiber, and fiber is very slow digesting. So your body can't break down the sugar molecule until it's broken through the fiber molecule. So because fiber is very filling and very slow to break down, that's why the sugar doesn't just dump instantly into your bloodstream like eating a candy bar or a sucker would.
Thanks, Walker. Any other coaches want to input anything on that? No? Okay. So fats. No, shush, Eric, shush. All right, so fats help absorb our fat soluble vitamins such as vitamin A, vitamin D, and vitamin E. So keep in mind, fats play an essential role massively, okay? Believe it or not, they're going to help reduce inflammation, okay? It's going to improve blood cholesterol levels. Yes, and vitamin K. Thank you, Walker. I didn't write that. And then healthful fats, they have a positive effect on our blood pressure. And equally, believe it or not, they're actually going to support our gut health. I talk a lot to my clients about gut health when it comes to, for example, prebiotics and probiotics. So fats equally play a role in that concept for our gut health.
Hey, Kat.
Yes.
I want to ask the group, what's two more things fats help with? See if y'all know. Anybody want to try? Hormone production and hormone balance. So for instance, somebody that's yes, Tyler. So for instance, somebody that's on TRT, if you don't know what TRT is testosterone replacement treatment. You don't need a lot of fats, right? Because the testosterone shots help you with it. So just that's another one. So for y'all that have imbalanced hormones, your fat consumption, hitting your fat goal will help with that. Won't necessarily change it all the way, but it'll help.
Ooh, Chester coming in with another good question. Healthy and unhealthy fats. That's a great question. I look at it like this. This would be what I would teach my clients, right? would be thinking about like avocados. It's a healthy fat. It contains really good content and vitamins for our body, really good fiber for our body as well, right? Do you want to be eating a whole avocado every single day? Probably not a whole one, but is it helpful? Yes. Is it healthy? Yes. I always go back to using ice cream as an example because that's like a unhealthy fat. The fat content in ice cream is pretty high, right? That would be deemed as an unhealthy fat, for example. Chester, was that helpful, dude?
I'll elaborate a little bit if you want.
Go for it, dude.
One thing I would say too is you can like very much like look up and find a very quick list, but like really inflammatory oils. So like in today's food industry, everything is like soy, canola, vegetable oils, right? Those are very inflammatory. All that means is, like in layman's terms, is it causes you to be your body to be very inflamed because of it. Your body doesn't respond very well to them. So you're inflamed, you're swollen, bloated, those types of things, which also cause more water retention. And that's why, like, if you have a really shitty meal, even though your calories are on, sometimes you're like, why the hell is my weight up the next day? It's usually because of that inflammation and that water weight. It's like the same concept behind having really high sodium. So your good oils obviously are like avocado, olive, coconut. Those are really like your three big ones. A lot of the other ones that are like found in food or are cheap are usually pretty inflammatory and will cause some issues, just like short-term issues.
Good. Moving on. So just a quick recap, right? So carbs, AKA think fuel. They are your friend. I want you to think protein equals growth, right? And also look at it as, what was the word I was thinking earlier? Repair, right? So think growth, think repair. And then fats, think of fats as protection, right? So all three are essential and all three play a role. So keep that in mind. We want to be aiming to hit all three, right?